Hello, accountability buddies. This is Les with another episode of Less is More Healthy. And you may notice that it is a beautiful sunny day in my car, and I am in the car. I'm not riding my bike to work today. I've been really struggling with being able to shoot a video. In fact, when I am driving into work, I don't have the time. I'd have to leave at like 7:15 in the morning to be able to shoot a video um, while I'm on my commute to work by bike. And that's just not feasible for me right now. Like I've said a number of times, I am not a morning person. Um, and leaving the house before 7 o'clock just is not something I can get my shit in gear for. So I did not ride my bike to work on Monday because I rode my bike on Sunday for over 30 miles. Um, and like if I'm only doing like a 10 to 20 mile day, I don't feel like I need a rest day afterwards. But I think when I do anything over 30 miles, taking a rest day makes some sense for me where I am in my health and fitness journey. And it'd be different if I were more physically fit and physically more healthy. Um, so yeah, I took a rest day on Monday. Then Tuesday and Wednesday we had thunderstorm warnings, so I just didn't ride in. Like I'll say this again and again and again. I don't mind riding in the rain. I don't want to ride in a thunderstorm. It just seems hugely dangerous to be out on the rail trail during a thunderstorm, and I don't like it. It doesn't feel safe. Um, if you're getting like super heavy rains, the trail can be wet and dangerous and slippery. So yeah, just deciding to not ride during that time just felt safer to me. Uh, the unfortunate thing is that means that I didn't ride my bike until Thursday. I did ride my bike in yesterday, um, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. You'll also notice I got glasses. I finally used my eye insurance and went and had my eyes checked. I did, in fact, need glasses. It took a little over a week, but my glasses came in. I like them. I'm happy with them. I see better, and I can read without my eyes feeling strained. So that's good. I am getting used to having bifocals. So like that feeling of the line between um, my distance and my close-up reading um, is definitely something I need to get used to. It feels a little dizzy, if that makes sense. So I'm getting used to that. I do wish maybe I should have gotten, or I'm thinking I should have considered getting some prescription sunglasses as well. Um, so I might look into that at some point. I probably wouldn't need the reading lenses on those. But anyway, so yeah, new glasses. And here's the thing about yesterday when I rode my bike into work. So the ride into work is generally, up until yesterday, I felt really good with the ride to work. I feel healthier, I feel fitter, my muscles feel pretty good when I'm doing it. I don't really have a lot of complaints when it comes to the ride to work. Um, it's 12 and a half miles to and from, 25 round trip, and it just generally feels good. It feels like a good workout. It doesn't feel like I'm overexerting myself anymore, and I just kind of feel good doing it. Until yesterday. So this week we've been in trainings and meetings all week, and that has been quite a bit different than my usual weekly experience or day-to-day experience in the studio. My job can be pretty sedentary. I can be sitting on my butt a lot, but generally speaking, I'm up and I'm moving around. I'm running up and down stairs. I'm running around after kids. Um, so I'm up and moving a lot. And during training weeks, I am sitting in a chair for the most of the day, and that's pretty difficult for me to sit still for that long. And also, I'm just not getting many steps in. Also, lunch is catered, and they've been pretty good about uh, making sure things are good for folks with allergies. But very little this week has been low carb. Um, breakfast, there's this whole like, yeah, we're serving breakfast every day. And yeah, they serve breakfast every day, but it was bagels, which, I can't eat. And someone definitely, like, they felt bad about that, but they're like, um, three of us who should be, or three of us who are on low carb diets, and at least one other person who should be. Um, that sounded judgmental, but it would make sense if you knew the situation. So they did feel bad about not having anything that quite a few people couldn't eat. But yeah, there's like bagels and then breakfast sandwiches. Um, and then lunch has also not been low carb. It's been pizza and a whole variety of other things that aren't low carb. So, I've been doing things like I had to open up a rice ball yesterday to eat the protein out of it. I had to remove the plantains from something. And, I do really enjoy, I miss having rice, but I really enjoy plantains. And so that's been like I've had a far higher carb count than I probably should have throughout this week. And I haven't been riding my bike all week because of the thunderstorm warnings. Uh, so I did ride my bike yesterday, and I didn't feel good. I shouldn't say I didn't feel good. It didn't feel as good as it usually did. My legs felt weak, like the muscles in my legs just didn't feel as good as they usually do. My arms felt a little weak holding myself up. And it was just kind of like an interesting, like, so here are the results of a consistent having a higher carb count than what I should be eating, or what my body can accept. There's no bad food. There's just the way your body reacts to it badly, and so you really, like, you have to, or I have to, trying to remember to use I statements here. I have to be really careful with what I put into my body, because I may or may not know how my body's going to react to something. Like, I know I can't eat rice anymore, so I just don't. I know I can't eat potatoes anymore, so I just don't. Occasionally I'll sneak one or two. I didn't really know, because I haven't tried to have plantains um, in a very long time. So I didn't really know how my body was going to respond to plantains. And my body responded okay, but also not well over the course of a couple of days. Um, so that's something to really remember, I think, for me, that I can check what how my body responds to something, but then I can't repeat the experience the day after. I have to be a little more careful with my diet if I'm experimenting with food and carb count. Um, and so that was just an eye opener, that the having an increased carb count over the course of a few days means that I will end up not feeling as good as usual if I increase my carb count over the course of a few days. And it's important for me to be really aware of how many carbs I'm eating, and, not take in too many carbs um, over the course of a week. And, if I'm going to have an increased carb amount, riding my bike or exercising in some way is going to be especially important, um, for me to feel good on a ride. Like, and I'm not saying I'm an endurance athlete, but like most endurance athletes have a much higher carb intake than I have. So, like, this was also, I think, a heads up in terms of, like, what am I going to eat if when I do finally do an extended day tour. Um, I know I'm going to have to eat in the middle of my 50-mile ride that I'm planning, which I'll talk about in a second, but I'm not going to be able to take in the number of carbs that a regular cyclist would. So, like, being careful about that, making sure that I'm taking in the right amount of protein, the right amount of carbs means that my body will feel good as I am engaging in these activities, and um, that I don't feel sick the day after. I don't feel tired while I'm cycling. And that was the thing, like the muscles in my leg just felt weak. I felt tired. And I'm also not sleeping well. That is also due to the increased carb count. Um, this has been a consistent problem for me as I've been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, that um, I will, you know, I gotta be careful. Like, I can't just eat willy nilly whatever I want. I gotta watch that carb count. Um, and I think that is also like a thing that I'm having to contend with, is the idea that this is something I'm going to have to worry about and deal with for the rest of my life. Like, no matter how fit I get, or if I lose, another 60, 70 pounds, probably not 70, that would be an unhealthy range. But like, even if I lose all of the weight my doctor would like to see me lose, I am not going to be a person that can just eat any carbohydrate. And I used to really believe that as someone with type 2 diabetes, if I lost enough weight, I would be able to just take in as many carbs as I would like. And that's not the case. This is a lifelong disease, and I'm going to be dealing with it for the rest of my life. And that sucks, but it's also okay. Like, there's just a reality of my life, and I could sit around and I could bemoan the fact that I have type 2 diabetes, that I can't eat carbs, I got to be careful with what I eat. Oh, I can't eat rice. Oh, I can't eat potatoes. But that doesn't help me make any changes, and that doesn't make me feel any better. If anything, that just, like, focusing on the negative aspect of it doesn't help. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now, and what I've been thinking about. And so with that, I